So, as we know, ladies and gentlemen, so far there is a lot of rumors going on in the UFC right now. Of course, there's the big rumor that Islam Makhachev might be facing Ilia Topuria, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about that situation because it gets pretty freaking interesting. I mean, there are people that just won't, fight Islam if Islam decides to move up to welterweight. Islam doesn't want to fight Ilia. There's rumors about Ilia potentially fighting Charles Oliveira. I mean, it gets insane and it gets pretty deep. And we're going to go ahead and talk about all of that today, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do, all I ask is for you guys to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It would definitely help me out a lot. And I would greatly appreciate it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the discussion of things. It is confirmed that Ilia will be fighting at UFC 317 for International Fight Week. Now, this is where it all gets interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because apparently Ilia Topuria will be fighting for a title, yet it is not clear what direction the UFC will go with. Apparently, Islam Makhachev has not rejected the fight yet, but he could possibly be stripped if he says no, or at least that's what the rumor is. But in my honest opinion, I doubt that happens. I think that it's more likely for Islam Makhachev to pretty much relinquish the title before, the UFC ever strips him. Because if John Jones is able to be the title holder at heavyweight while not giving Tom Aspinall a fight for over, I don't know, 6-7 months, then I think it's pretty fair to say that Islam Makhachev is not going to get his title stripped, in my opinion. Now, if there is a vacant title, that would mean that the most likely fight would be Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira. Now, this fight would be absolutely insane. This is a fight where a lot of people have been making videos about, like, what if Ilia Topuria were to fight Charles Oliveira for a title eliminator, and then whoever wins that fight goes on to fight Islam Makhachev. Well, they could possibly be fighting for the vacant title if Islam Makhachev does decide to relinquish his belt. Now, there is also a rumor that's going around that since it's not clear on what Ilia Topuria will be competing with in the lightweight fight or the lightweight bout that's supposed to take place at 317, some people are pretty much alluding to the fact that it could potentially be for the BMF belt. Let's not forget that Max Holloway will be moving to the lightweight division, I think permanently, in my opinion, and he is the BMF title holder. Now, it could be a possibility that Max Holloway could fight Ilia Topuria for the BMF belt, but in my opinion, this will be the biggest bullshit, in my opinion, for the UFC. This would not be like a fight that people are, expecting. People are expecting Ilia Topuria to have like a title eliminator, or to pretty much step up and fight the champion, or at least, have that vacant title fight. That's what people are expecting, and I genuinely don't really think that the UFC is going to go ahead and let Ilia Topuria fight Max Holloway for the BMF belt, because that's something that we've already seen and it's still pretty fresh in people's brains. I don't really think that that fight deserves to have a rematch just yet. I mean, I'm not saying that Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria could never happen again, but as of right now, I just don't think that this is a real possibility. If you ask me personally, I do think that the UFC is trying to get Ilia Topuria for a vacant title fight, or literally have that fight with Islam Makhachev or something along those lines. Now, that pretty much sums up everything with Ilia Topuria. He could be, potentially fighting Islam Makhachev or fighting Charles Oliveira for the vacant belt. Now, there is an interesting situation going on with Islam Makhachev as well. Apparently, he wants to move up to welterweight. He wants to get a second belt, but Belal Muhammad is not willing to fight him. He doesn't want the smoke. He definitely would get smoked, in my opinion. I think that Islam Makhachev would definitely beat him. He said, I wouldn't fight him. Muhammad also mentions Makhachev's team has done a lot for him and says it wouldn't be worth it. Now, I think that this is a terrible thing for Islam Makhachev. He's going to have to wait on the results between Jack Della Maddalena versus Belal Muhammad. Of course, if Jack Della Maddalena becomes a new champion at welterweight, you can 100% expect Islam Makhachev to challenge him for that title. And I think That would be a great decision. It would be a great fight for the welterweight. I think it would bring new life to that division, and without a doubt, a lot of people will tune in to watch that.